And while assuming a comfortable position, awaiting for this practice with the mind, we will welcome tonight's teachings, this module about transforming problems. And we will think about how we can transform our minds by stopping cherishing ourselves and start cherishing others, thinking how we can transform problems. Tonight's practice and meditation will be on Tonglen, taking and giving, and thinking that by generating great compassion, we take the suffering and causes of suffering of numberless sentient beings within ourselves. And we use their challenges and problems and suffering to destroy our self-cherishing thought, the source of all our personal problems. So now think that by generating great loving compassion and kindness, we give other living beings everything that we have, our body, our relatives and friends, and our possessions, our merit, our happiness. We give it to them. So think about your motivation, thinking at this very moment, all our kind mother sentient beings are experiencing great suffering. On top of this, they are running constantly to create the cause for even more suffering. Now think that at this moment, you and I and every other others are incapable of relieving the suffering of even one sentient being, And if I receive the enlightened holy body, just one ray of its light could ripen the minds of countless sentient beings, leading them to the state of greatest peace. And therefore to release all mother sentient beings from suffering and lead them to the sublime happiness of enlightenment, I personally must attain the exalted state of a Buddha. The attainment of Buddhahood is not without causes and conditions. Its principal cause is the two bodhichittas, the wish to become enlightened and the wish to help other sentient beings to become enlightened as well. So I'm going to practice the profound method of Tonglen. And we will take refuge. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest assembly, from the virtuous merit that I collect by practicing giving and other perfections. May I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest assembly, from the virtuous merit that I collect by practicing giving and other perfections. May I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye cherang soke chok nam la, janchu padu da hi kapchu chi, dagi jin chok ki pesanang ki, durla pense sangye dropak shok. Having touched the refuge prayer with both our mind and heart by saying the prayer in English and in Tibetan, we don't take this lightly. Think that this is something where we start with ourselves. So now expand this understanding, thinking that how all living beings constantly experience suffering, even though they don't wish to, that's what they're doing, because they don't know the causes of suffering, or maybe just the laziness of trying to change it by falling back into old habits. And now take a next step, thinking how wonderful it would be if all living beings could be free from all the suffering and the causes of suffering, let go of karma and delusions. And think, may I be the one, may it be up to me to relieve them from all their suffering it causes. This is not the actual practice where you actually remove the suffering from these people or sentient beings. It's just a way to destroy your own self-cherishing thoughts. So with this, you imagine that you breathe in all the suffering and the causes of suffering of other living beings. Imagine breathing in through your nostrils in the form of black smoke. So just imagine sentient beings in a huge crowd around you, all with big eyes, yearning, longing for salvation, freedom from bondage in samsara. And you just breathe in. It's just like you're removing a big thorn from the foot soles of these living beings, and you just free them from this suffering, this pain, by taking in their suffering. And now think, even just by breathing in all this polluted, dark, inky, liquid, smoke, polluted, dusty pollution, instead of getting sick from it, it actually increases and enhances your bodhichitta and gives you even more purpose for helping other sentient beings, like steering into the skids when driving a car. Realizing that you're actually doing the correct thing. And it benefits you, and it benefits them as well. Increases your determination to generate bodhicitta. And you can actually see how all of those sentient beings are relieved from suffering. Black smoke comes in through your nostrils and absorbs into the cherishing thoughts in your heart, completely destroying it. And now take a step back from yourself and think, usually I will avoid suffering myself. That's my instinctive thoughts to avoid suffering, but now I welcome it. And while I'm also trying, suffering from suffering, the suffering of suffering, instead of wishing to avoid it, I just welcome even more of it. Thinking, may I take upon me the suffering, and you transform it into bodhicitta. And you imagine when breathing in this dark smoke, your self-cherishing thought, perhaps located at your heart, it simply dissolves. All of it is all the me and my needy craving is dissolved, dispelled. And you imagine that you take out from other sentient beings the undesirable environments that they experience. All the undesirable places that sentient beings live. Imagine that you are breathing in the red hot burning ground of the hot hells, the eyes of the cold hells, the inhospitable environments of the hungry ghost, the loneliness, feeling of being prey from animals, being dispersed, constantly tired, constantly hungry, constantly in fear and deep ignorance. All the pride and selfishness of the demigods and gods, the competition, All this in the form of dark smoke, just smashing completely your self-cherishing thoughts. Even the dirty places where human beings live. You just take it all away. Imagine just for 1 second that you could shake hands with one sentient beings to whom you relieve them from their suffering, and see their smiling face and happiness for not feeling suffering. Thinking that you can just continue and shake hands with many more sentient beings. How does it feel? Or imagine your own children, dear ones. How much wouldn't you be doing for them to relieve them from their pain and suffering? Also think that even as you breathe in even more dark smoke, thinking that you completely remove the false I, the ignorance that holds to be truly existent. It just becomes completely empty of inherent existence. Even the base of it is just a label imputed on top of what there is. The I doesn't exist as we thought it would be. It's the ultimate nature of the I. It just smashes completely this craving and clinging to your I, which when upset talks about me and mine, as if there's some sort of solid, concrete, I am, I will have. And now think, having smashed all of those false conceptions, that you're full of bodhichitta and you just breathe out white, clear, clarifying, purifying lights to all of those sentient beings. And they inhale all of it hungrily, happily, and you can see how much it benefits. You can even compare yourself to a candle. And when the candle leans towards another candle, it happily gives the illumination to the next candle, and your own fire, your own illumination just stays and it just gets stronger again. It's unlimited. You can pass on unlimited illumination to other candles and still retaining your own flame. Pass it on and pass it on. Just breathe out this wide, purifying light, strong laser beams of purifying light that gives understanding and well-being. Thinking that how wonderful, how marvelous it would be if I could remove the suffering of suffering. But understanding that's not enough. You also wish to take away people's attachment. How wonderful if it would be, could it be that people didn't suffer from a strong attachment, clinging to things because that's the next first step of aversion. But even then, understanding that's not enough. How wonderful and marvelous it would be if I could even remove the all-pervasive, compounded suffering with people having to be reborn uncontrollably, undesiredly, not knowing how, in some sort of form or shape in some world, some hostile environment. The only way to do that is to become enlightened. And the only way that you can benefit people with this understanding is when you achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible, showing the way, the path. Now imagine with the light coming out, that this understanding is given from you to them. It's like an awakening, a moment of clarity. And it gives you inspiration and motivation for thinking, may I be determined to become enlightened as quickly as possible. As this meditation comes to the close, you will think, may this understanding, all of these thoughts manifest as a clarity, an understanding, a moment of awakening, and strong determination that will lead me and inspire me and grant me the ability to become enlightened as fast as possible. And while transforming problems, may I smile, meet the world with a happy face, a happy brain, happy mind. And may I see many faces benefiting from my wish to become enlightened as well. And while tonight Venerable Vina will be teachings, may I be a correct vessel, understanding, hearing the words, transforming the words, remembering the words, and may they be pure. Thank you, everyone.